and move, get out of the hometown and see where it takes me for this year. Exactly. Like, sometimes it's just been here for 2 years, so thinking about work. He just got married.
That's what they told me to do.
Okay, right. So do we look proper?
Look good. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Whittenburg Conference Center. We're here today to talk about an historic event in this state and in this nation. The Chickasaw Nation and Choctaw Nation are joining with the state of Oklahoma in filing their separate suits against the opioid manufacturers for the destruction and damages that they have caused in these two nations. It's historic. The state and the tribes enjoy a great relationship. The tribes are going to join in this battle with the state against these manufacturers. And we have here today to talk about what's happening in these lawsuits, General Hunter and here and Chief Batten and Governor Anatoby and Trey Duff, one of the co-counsel. My name is Michael Burridge and I'm lead counsel in these cases. And so, General.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Governor Anatoby, thank you. Chief Batten, thank you. I want to take the opportunity to let everybody know unconditionally that the state is 100% behind your efforts to recoup the damages caused by your tribes through the decades of deceptive marketing by opioid manufacturers. Native American communities have been one of the hardest hit by the opioid epidemic across the nation. The CDC reports that between 1999 and 2015, overdose deaths among Native Americans and Native Alaskans rose by more than 500%. During that time period, data shows that there were approximately 22 deaths for every 100,000 people in urban areas and around 20 deaths for every 100,000 people in non-urban areas. Yet for Native Americans, these numbers are even worse. The Chief Medical Officer for the Indian Health Service reported to Congress recently that these numbers may be undercounted by as much as 35% because death certificates often list Native Americans as belonging to another race. These deaths are nightmarish and needless. Individuals in these tribal nations and throughout the state should not become addicted to deadly drugs like heroin and fentanyl because they were led to believe by initially taking prescription opioids that they would be safe. Children should not be born addicted to opioids and go into withdrawal moments after they take their first breath. The root cause of this carnage and destruction is attributable to what the Chickasaw and Choctaw nations allege today and what the state alleged a little over a year ago. Opioid manufacturers knowingly preyed on the addiction and suffering of Americans for decades and did nothing about it. These companies and their executives made billions of dollars while our family members and friends died or continue suffering from addiction. Even worse, once these companies understood the crisis they had caused, instead of pulling down their marketing campaigns, they doubled down, instructing company sales representatives to lie about the addictive nature of opioids. These companies have caused now generations of addiction. As far as I'm concerned, they are the definition of evil, and they should be held accountable. That's why I'm here today. And I want Governor Anatubby and Chief Batten to know that the state is ready and committed to work closely with them, as we have before on many other issues, to ensure success in both the state's and now the tribe's lawsuits. It is vital for the states and the tribe to work together cooperatively and collaboratively to hold these companies liable for the damages they've caused. I want to also commend Governor Anatubby and Chief Batten for their selection of the Wittenberge law firm, which is the most qualified and the most distinguished firm in the state in connection with their qualifications to handle this important lawsuit. As I've said before, Judge Burrage and his law partner, Reggie Whitten, are not only two of the best attorneys in the state, they are the two very best attorneys in the state to lead this cause. They both suffered personally from the epidemic, and they're pouring their heart and souls into these cases, just like they have for the state of Oklahoma. The opioid epidemic does not discriminate. It doesn't care where you're from. It doesn't care if you have a family, hopes, or dreams. And it will continue to cut a deadly swath across the country and our state until we stop it. Today is another step in the right direction.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, General Hunter. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to working with you and your office and our council, who's already been raised up, who we certainly feel is the right person and the right firm for this job. And this what has happened with this opioid addiction is unconscionable. How we got to where we are with it. Our people have been affected personally, and it's been less than a month. I went to a funeral of a young man who was 20s who overdosed on opioids. And we continue to hear stories from our families in the community that indicate that they need help because they can't shake this addiction. We have treatment facilities that are filling up with people who have opioid addiction. It's time that we do something. It's become a tragedy in this country and for the Chickasaw Nation and other Native Americans in the state and throughout the country. So we must do something. We've taken it personally. It affects our families in such a negative way that we must do something. And through the efforts of Judge Burrage, we have now come to the point that we are, in fact, doing something about it. So we're thankful for him, and we're thankful for the support of the Attorney General and his department. And we expect to hold these companies accountable for what they've done to this country and to the Native Americans in the
Well, Halito, hello, and I'd like Governor Anatubby. I do believe that we've assembled a great team, a legal team with Whitten Burrage, and then also we have great partners. Attorney General, thank you very much, and my great partner, the Governor Anatubby of the Chickasaw Nation. We appreciate that very much. Mine is just basically speaking from the heart, meaning that this opioid addiction definitely has. It has taken our moms, it's taken our dads, it's taken our brothers, it's taken our sisters away from us. We do believe that these companies have definitely lied. They have betrayed our trust. They have not told the truth in regards to how these have been addictive and how they affect our people, our families. And we do believe it's unjust that they've been able to do that. And we do believe that we want to hold them accountable. That's what this lawsuit is all about, is to make sure that we can get funding to help our families restore their families, to help a healing process so that they can do better and overcome this addiction that has plagued our nation, the Choctaw Nation, but our state of Oklahoma and the United States as a whole. So for that, I just want to thank you for coming out and covering this, and because it is very much an important issue for us as the Choctaw Nation. Yako Ki. God bless.
We are available for questions if you have any questions.
Are the companies named in these two suits the same companies named in the state's suit?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
What's the status of that suit?
The state suit was removed to federal court, we say wrongfully. There's a motion to remand pending. That's before Judge Vicki Miles LaGrange at this time, awaiting her ruling to remand it back to Cleveland County.
And does this new suit impact that suit at all?
No, it doesn't impact the suit. These cases were filed in state court. They don't allege federal claims. And the Choctaws was filed in Durant. The Chickasaws was filed in Ada. They seek to recover damages that each of these tribes have sustained. There's no overlap with regard to damages. There's separate damages claims for the state and for each tribe.
That's the state suit was filed last year.
June of last year.
Yes.
A lot of tribal issues are filed in federal court. Can you just discuss a little bit more about why it's to be filed in the state court?
Well, the actions were filed in state court, and if it had been filed in federal court, Randy, it would have been transferred to the MDL or in Columbus, Ohio, and we would rather for Oklahomans to decide these cases, the state's case and these tribes' cases, rather than some federal judge in Columbus, Ohio, and that's why they were filed in state court. But you are correct. Sometimes we do file cases in federal court.
If the money that you'll do receive if this lawsuit does go through, what will it go towards? Is it going towards treatment facilities for these people, or where is it going to go?
Well, I'll start off. The nature of the lawsuit is not to recover individual damages for any citizen of the state or any tribal member. The damages sought are what it has cost the state and these tribes with regard to treatment cost, with regard to law enforcement, with regard to health care, with regard to the court system. So it's money that the tribes and the state have been out because of this epidemic. I don't know if y'all have anything you want to add to that.
I'd just like to, if you don't mind, I'd like to add that whatever is recovered is a way for us to do education to our people, for our people, to help combat the addiction that our people are being devastated by. Our families are coming apart in many cases because of these addictions. So we're going to need some family services. We also need the treatment, be able to help fund the treatment. And of course, we could fund these things, right? Okay? But don't you think that the people who are responsible for it ought to fund it? And so that's what this is about, is to first stop these folks from doing what they do, to expose all of what they've done, and to cause them to help pay for all the damages that they've caused in our communities. Insurance has been filed in Pontotoc County because the damages are around this area, and the people in these areas are the ones that should make the decision in regard to what damages ought to be.
And I might add that, that we get a lot of questions that this may be similar to the tobacco case, because in that case they'll cite the cost of treatment. And in that connection, we've joined forces with the lead law firm in the tobacco litigation, Nix, Patterson and Roach. They had the most success of any firm in the tobacco litigation, and Trey is with that firm here today. And together, I think we're a pretty good team and a pretty powerful force.
You know what specifically what you're seeking damages at this point?
Randy, we don't have the dollar amount yet, but it's in the categories that I talked about, the treatment cost and so forth, and it's a work in progress. But on behalf of the state and the tribes, it's very substantial.
And you talked about the qualifications, but how was it that Whitten and Bird was chosen to handle these suits?
I can answer for the tribe.
I
Well,
can for her tribe as
So I'll
well.
postscript. You got, gentlemen, go ahead, and I'll postscript.
This is our firm. We've been working with them for quite some time now, and they've proven themselves. And they had to prove themselves. We wouldn't be working with them. It's not just a friendship; it's a professional relationship, and because of their expertise and the way that they do business, that's why they're on the case. They are our legal counsel.
Well, on behalf of the Choctaw Nation, Judge Burge is our general counsel for the nation. I appointed him, and our council confirmed him, so I have a lot of faith and trust in his expertise and knowledge. And I've known Nix Patterson. They have worked with us in other cases, and as Governor said, they have proven themselves. So when we go into litigation, I want the best team that I can to represent us. That's the reason why they were chosen.
So from the state's standpoint, there were really three criteria that we applied to this decision: talent, credentials, and trust. So the talent of this law firm has been recognized around the country. The largest verdict ever awarded in a civil case was won by the Whitten Burge firm. So from a talent standpoint, there really wasn't a second choice. With regard to credentials, you have a former federal judge in Mike Burridge. Both Mike and Reggie are members of the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. So their credentials as great lawyers and great Oklahomans really proved themselves. Lastly, giving what's at issue here and giving the odds, and this in many ways is David versus Goliath. We had to have people on behalf of the state that we knew we could trust. And what Mike and Reggie have demonstrated for decades, representing clients in this state, is that they're people you can trust. So those are the three things that went into our decision. And I just want to say for the record, we are going to advance this lawsuit, the state's lawsuit. We are going to work in a cooperative partnership way with the Choctaws and the Chickasaws with regard to this action. But our approach was to represent the state and all of the state's governmental subdivisions. So it is not an issue of the state's case not being as strong when governmental subdivisions decide to go separately. It is really something that we are concerned about with regard to subdivisions being in a position where they're not going to be able to benefit from all the hard work that's gone in to developing our damage model and to putting this case together. We've been working on this case for now 13, 14 months. There have been literally thousands of man hours that have gone into developing our damage model. So again, our concern here is that we don't want cities and counties being disadvantaged, but their decisions are going to be their decisions. We just hope that we'll be given the opportunity to make sure that they're making those decisions and being able to benefit from the state's case. So again, this firm is the best firm in the state. They've put a team together that is without peer, and we're very confident in our case, and we look forward to getting the case back in Oklahoma. But again, the commitment here this morning is that we're going to work in a seamless way with the Choctaws and the Chickasaws to assist them in advancing their case.
Mr. Just so that's why this case is different than what you advised Oklahoma City not to go forward with their case. Is that why it's different?
This case really doesn't have a relationship with the Oklahoma City decision. This is an opportunity, again, to work cooperatively in a fashion that both benefits the tribes and the state. Oklahoma City made its decision. We had concerns about it, but the concerns were that the city needed to make a thoughtful, informed decision. And we don't agree with it, but we respect it. And if there are ways that we can work together with the city and their law firms, we'll certainly do that.
Okay. Anything else? Well, good. Like I say, I appreciate you being here today, and we're going to conclude, and I think these gentlemen have other places they need to be. So thanks for coming.